A portion of this video is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. For more information about Sheath Underwear, visit the link in the description or wait till the end of this video to hear more from me. The other item of sycophancy that I want to talk about today relative to Donald Trump doesn't just apply to Republicans. It absolutely applies to those who find themselves in trouble, who are Democrats. We've seen Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, cozying up to Donald Trump after he's been indicted. I guess he was invited. I think he was invited to the inauguration. He's certainly spoken to Donald Trump since his indictments. The other is Bob Menendez, the disgraced former Democratic senator from New Jersey. This is a wild story. And it really does touch on how the Democratic Party and Republicans deal with scandal in their ranks. When Bob Menendez was indicted and the evidence was released in the indictment, many people came right out and said, this guy needs to go. He needs to resign. It wasn't back him and defend him at all costs. No matter what he did, act as though he's correct, act as though he's righteous, act as though he's noble. That's not the way we handle things. We're not Republicans. Bob Menendez was just sentenced to 11 years in prison as part of this investigation and this case, this indictment for blackmail, for bribery, not blackmail, bribery. Let me read a little bit from this AP article since I'm too ill to get my stuff together and have it said correctly. And then I'm going to get to MSNBC speculation about him possibly wanting clemency. And then, you guessed it, he's absolutely signaling to Donald Trump, Trump was right, it's a weaponization, I hope he fixes everything. He's going MAGA, is what he's doing. First, though, here's a headline from the AP. Former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez gets 11 years in prison for taking bribes and acting as an agent of Egypt. Now, I want to explain the case so you know exactly what we're dealing with if you're not familiar with the sordid details of his arrest, of his indictment, of his conviction on these charges. Former U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was sentenced Wednesday to 11 years in prison for accepting bribes of gold and cash and acting as an agent of Egypt, crimes his lawyer said he's been mocked for as Gold Bar Bob. The ex-senator was convicted of selling his once considerable clout for bribes worth a fortune. FBI agents who searched his house found $480,000 in cash, some of it stuffed inside boots and pockets of clothing, and gold bars worth an estimated $150,000. Prosecutors said in exchange for the loot, which also included a luxury car, Menendez did corrupt favors for 3 New Jersey businessmen. They said he tried to protect associates from criminal investigations, helped 2 of them in business deals with foreign powers, and also met with Egyptian intelligence officials and took steps to help that country access millions of dollars in U.S. military aid. He absolutely used his position as the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to pad his pockets with literal gold and cash. And now that he's been convicted, he's looking for clemency. But before we get to that clip, let me play for you some speculation before his sentencing that maybe he was vying for clemency from Trump. If only they knew how right they were.
All right, let's talk about another possibility. Menendez seeking clemency from President Trump. He's been advised, apparently, to go directly to the president. According to a person who's familiar with the argument, the crux of his argument is that he's been politically targeted by DOJ, which is something President Trump has talked about in his own case, and he's talked about in pardons for other people. If you were his defense attorney, does that look like a good fallback position to you?
I would give the exact same advice in light of the fact that in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there have been thousands of pardons issued by both Biden and President Trump. Who in their right mind would ever go through the office of the pardon attorney again? That is a totally separate way. The way you're supposed to ask for a pardon, it takes years. You usually have to already be serving a sentence. Why do that when you can take a postage stamp, stick it on an envelope, send it to the White House, and who knows what'll happen. But either way, if it does happen, it'll happen fast, because I imagine Trump is presented with the idea. He decides to pardon. That happens in a matter of minutes. Everyone else who gets in line with the Office of the Pardon Attorney, which is this rarely known office that processes all these pardons. It's not necessary. The president could handle them all himself, but that is the way it's normally done. Who in their right mind would even bother with them anymore and wait years and get in line and get assigned a number like you're at the deli? They do. They assign numbers. You wait forever. Just write directly to the White House. If you're Bob Menendez, they'll take your call. They'll read your letter. You've got a better shot than you ever would with the formal, official means of getting a pardon.
So yeah, why get in line? Why communicate with the Office of Presidential Pardons within the DOJ when you can just make a direct appeal on national television and go viral doing so, begging Donald Trump for clemency, telling Donald Trump via the cameras just how right he was? Doing the thing that Donald Trump desires more than anything is people kissing his ass, brown-nosing him, lapping at the boots. And Bob Menendez is no different. Watch this absolutely disgraceful spectacle.
Regardless of the judge's comments today, I am innocent, and I look forward to filing appeals on a whole host of issues. But let me just say this. This whole process has been nothing but a political witch hunt by the Justice Department's NSD and prosecutors who are more interested in political scalps and preparing to run for public office, like Damian Williams. Only in the Southern District of New York could prosecutors send the jury illegal evidence that violates the judge's order and the Constitution's speech and debate clause, have no accountability as to who or how or what happened, claim that it was critical evidence when they were trying to convince the judge not once but twice that this was critical evidence, and then suggest that after they were caught that in fact it was unimportant. That's outrageous, outrageous, and unbelievable. Only in the SDNY could you embrace an FBI agent who was caught lying on the stand in order to make their case. Only in the Southern District of New York would prosecutors allow a witness to walk away from over 10 criminal charges, including defrauding the United States government, so that they can get him to lie on the stand. Welcome to the Southern District of New York, the Wild West of political prosecutions. President Trump is right. This process is political and it's corrupted to the core. I hope President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores the integrity to the system.
He's using Donald Trump's language. He's sucking up to Donald Trump. He's appealing for clemency or maybe even a pardon because he knows that's what works. No principle. Cowardice is what this is. And you're going to see this from Eric Adams if his case goes to trial. You're going to see this with others. The problem is we expect it from Republicans. It's just disappointing when it comes from Democrats. I talk nearly every day about how divided we are as a country and the havoc that this division wreaks. But not all divisions are bad, right? As a mathematical concept, for instance, division allows you to split things into equal parts, allowing for equal shares. Division of labor has, for thousands of years, allowed humans to evolve their efficiency and specialization when working on certain tasks. And you can ask any kid to tell you that dinner is far better when the meat is divided from the veg. And what's more annoying than when you're sitting at a cramped table or out in the humid weather than having your meat smashed into your two veg? Is the meat and veg metaphor working here? It's time to divide and conquer with Sheath. Sheath makes the most comfortable
boxer briefs I have ever worn. Regular boxers are just too loose and bunchy and not great. And briefs are just a smush fest. Sheath are the solution. Head to sheath.com and use promo code Dollemore to score 20% off and upgrade to the most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. I'm wearing a pair right now, and indeed, that may be all I'm wearing under the desk here. But really, sheaths are the only underwear I wear. Absolutely fact. Their testicular tech features dual pouches to keep your mane apart from your sides. More dinner metaphors. Note, if you're not into the division for some reason, you don't have to use the dual pouches at all. Just throw your sheaths on like regular pair of underwear and you're good to go. Also, Sheath's stretchy fabric is super soft and made with moisture-wicking technology to keep your president and his cabinet cool and comfortable throughout the rigors of the day. I love my sheaths all the time, but they are particularly clutch in the sticky heat of DC summers, which is basically like 9 months out of the year. They were invented by a U.S. Army veteran while serving a tour in Iraq. The idea for sheath came from discomfort in harsh environments. As a former Marine stationed in that part of the world, I get the inspiration. The airflow meshes are my personal favorite, but Sheath has tons of excellent styles and designs. Pick a pair and Sheath will hand them to your doorstep nearly instantly thanks to blindingly fast shipping and amazing customer service. Also, Sheath supports multiple charities like Socks for Soldiers and Doctors Without Borders. So with your purchase, you're making the world a better place too. Upgrade your undergarments, score 20% off right now when you head to sheath.com and use code Dollemore. Divide and conquer your discomfort with Sheath underwear.